Welcome to today's brand origin deep dive. You've heard of the product, seen its familiar interface every day, but do you know how a bold, almost unbelievable promise, born in the quiet hum of a forgotten archive, reshaped how we communicate online forever? If you find value in this kind of storytelling, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps more than you know. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from, or what you think is the most surprising part of this story. Let's dive in and discover how it all began. You find yourself standing in a temperature-controlled corporate archive, the air thin and smelling of ozone and forgotten paper. Row upon row of gray filing cabinets stretch into the dim distance. Dust motes dance in the single beam of light slicing through a high window. Your hand drifts over faded labels, Project Nightingale, Aurora, Kilimanjaro, and then, tucked away on a bottom shelf, a single unmarked box. It feels heavier than it looks, filled not with paper, but something else, prototypes maybe, or relics of ideas deemed too strange for the light of day. As you lift the lid, a faint electronic hum seems to emanate from within. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed packing foam, sits an object that looks like a relic from a different era. A forgotten vision board, perhaps, featuring early logos, cryptic flowcharts, and a single bold, almost arrogant promise: infinite mail. But it's one detail that captures your attention. A handwritten note pinned near the center, scrawled in urgent ink, or failing all else, April 1st. This is where the story begins, in the quiet hum of a forgotten ambition. In the early 2000s, email was a chore. Imagine your inbox like a tiny closet you constantly had to empty, wrestling with minuscule storage limits, maybe a few megabytes if you were lucky. You're constantly deleting attachments, archiving everything, just to make space. This world of digital scarcity was the norm when Google, then primarily known as the search engine, quietly launched a top-secret project codenamed Caribou. This project wasn't just about building another email client. It was driven by an audacious, almost laughable vision: infinite storage for everyone. The founding team believed users shouldn't have to manage their inbox like a precious resource. This concept felt utterly impossible at the time. Giving away massive, expensive storage for free? It seemed absurd. Internal skepticism was rampant. Engineers initially scoffed, and executives questioned the sanity of the idea. This is the major historical turning point. The commitment to this technically daunting, seemingly non-viable vision. One of the quirky details, hinting at the internal doubt, is the early, hesitant murmurs of treating the concept as a potential joke, almost acknowledging its sheer unbelievability, a sentiment perhaps echoed by that April 1st note. The core technical challenge was immense: building affordable, massive data storage systems at a scale never before attempted for a consumer product. The idea of an ever-filling loading bar, initially symbolizing the vastness of this impossible storage, began to feel less like a feature and more like a psychological weight, a constant reminder of the hurdle. Brand historians still debate whether the April 1st date was a genuine fallback for failure or a calculated move to soften the blow of such an outlandish claim if it didn't land. This early tension between genuine innovation and the hint of deliberate deception set the stage for what was to come. You uncover internal memos detailing the intense resistance to the infinite storage idea. Building on the boundless ambition explored previously, you witness this dream slam headfirst into corporate reality. senior engineers and product managers voiced strong opposition, citing astronomical costs and seemingly insurmountable technical infeasibility. This section focuses on the internal battleground, fought out in fluorescent-lit meeting rooms and endless email chains. Where the radical concept clashed with practicality, it's like trying to build a skyscraper with Lego bricks. The vision is there, but the foundation just isn't stable. The April Fool's idea, initially pitched as a dark joke or perhaps a low-stakes fallback plan, starts gaining alarming traction. It's a peculiar marketing strategy, a way to gauge public reaction without committing fully, or maybe, just maybe, to mask the sheer audacity of the project's actual scaled-back scope. You trace this peculiar approach back to whispers about a rogue marketing subteam, or perhaps a single, influential founder who saw the humor or the strategic genius in the absurdity. The emotional shift here is palpable. The initial wide-eyed ambition gives way to a cynical pragmatism, fueling intense internal conflict. Sensory details surface, the sterile quiet of late-night strategy meetings where dreams were downsized, and the feel of early, clunky prototype interfaces where the promise felt distant. The ever-filling loading bar, once a symbol of limitless potential, now takes on a mocking quality. A cruel visual pun appearing in discarded internal presentations, explicitly labeled April 1 concepts. It suggests the impossibility isn't just a hurdle, it's part of the gag itself. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind launching such a core concept wrapped in the guise of a joke, foreshadowing the ethical ambiguity that would later define the launch. Building on what came before, the narrative shifts dramatically. You now witness the brand take a calculated, almost chaotic leap into the public consciousness, but not with a clear announcement. Instead, you follow the trail of increasingly bizarre pre-launch buzz. This phase isn't about leaks in the traditional sense. It's the deliberate creation of public confusion around the imminent launch. Internally, marketing discussions reportedly swirled around crafting a press release so outlandish, so packed with unbelievable claims, that it might be dismissed outright as an elaborate April Fool's joke, despite the calendar date. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind this strategy, wondering if the aim was pure chaos or a viral test of public gullibility. The source of subsequent leaks becomes shrouded in mystery. Were they accidental glimpses of truth, or carefully orchestrated drops designed to fuel the fire? The public reaction is a fascinating study in online psychology. Disbelief battling with speculation, excitement wrestling skepticism. Early internet forums and tech blogs become a cacophony of static and noise, users speculating wildly about features like unlimited storage, a concept so alien at the time it felt like science fiction. The familiar image of the ever-filling loading bar reappears in distorted, low-resolution online leaks and fan mock-ups, fueling the confusion about what was real and what was pure fantasy. This manufactured mystery creates a media frenzy, a widespread public bewilderment that sets the stage for something truly unexpected. The line between the joke and the product begins blurring, foreshadowing a future where the impossible becomes reality, perhaps even catching the creators themselves by surprise. Building on what came before, the immediate aftermath of the April Fool's launch was less a chuckle and more a frantic sprint. You see the demand explode almost instantly, overwhelming the deliberately limited initial rollout. This triggered an intense internal scramble, a major historical turning point where engineers were pulled from every corner of Google to stabilize and critically scale the infrastructure at breakneck speed. The quiet hum of a few servers quickly turned into the demanding thrum of rapidly expanding server farms. The unexpected success meant the April Fool's narrative had to be dropped from official messaging as fast as it was introduced, though, for many users, the memory of the joke lingered, adding a strange layer to this revolutionary product. For the small, original team, this period brought immense validation for their visionary idea. However, the quirky, joke-laden origin story was quickly overshadowed by corporate growth, and while some founders rose with the product, others quietly faded, their unique start becoming a historical footnote to a global success. Analysts continue to question the strategic depth of initially framing a revolutionary product like Gmail as a joke, especially given the subsequent privacy debates around its core feature, seemingly infinite storage. The clean, minimalist aesthetic of the early interface provided a calming counterpoint to the internal chaos, but the ever-filling loading bar, now representing actual storage, took on a subtle, almost unsettling permanence. This seemingly simple promise of infinite storage, however, quietly foreshadowed the immense power Google would gain by holding vast amounts of personal communication, raising privacy questions that would echo for years. You step back from the digital archives, the strange scent of history still clinging to your mind. Think about the Gmail inbox many of us open every day. It's no longer a curiosity, no longer an impossible promise. It is infrastructure, a silent, ever-present archive of our digital lives, conversations, receipts, memories, secrets. It began as something absurd, something that felt too good, too unlikely to be true. And yet, here it is, a cornerstone of the internet. Used by billions globally. What does it truly mean when something so fundamental, so deeply ingrained in your daily routine, was born from a story that felt like a prank? Does that joke origin linger, a faint, unsettling echo beneath the clean, professional interface? Brand historians still debate whether the April Fool's announcement was a stroke of genius marketing, a moment of playful rebellion, or perhaps a subtle, almost deceitful framing device to lower expectations for something revolutionary. The psychological shift it brought was profound. When storage is no longer a constraint, email transforms from a curated collection into a continuous stream, a permanent record we rarely consider deleting. This ease of storage also enabled Google to amass quiet power, learning from the contents of billions of inboxes. Has the infinite storage become less a liberating gift and more a potential burden, a vast, searchable history held by someone else? What happened to the irreverent spirit of that initial idea? Seemingly swallowed whole by the corporate giant it helped create. The story of Gmail's launch isn't just about a technical achievement or a masterclass in marketing. It's a strange parable about perception, reality, and the subtle, often hidden ways technology shapes our expectations, behaviors, and even our anxieties. The ever-filling loading bar isn't just about data anymore. In a symbolic sense, it's about the weight of history, the constant accumulation of messages, yes, but also of influence, of unanswered questions, of the things we can't easily let go of. As you step away from contemplating this digital legacy, the electronic hum seems to follow you. It's a low-frequency reminder that even the most ubiquitous, invisible tools have hidden origins, strange stories, and legacies that are still being written, one saved email at a time. Is this truly the end of the story? Or is the ultimate joke, perhaps on all of us, still waiting to be fully revealed? As we slow down and reflect on this journey from a whispered rumor on April Fool's Day to a global digital utility, several key takeaways emerge. The story of Gmail reminds us that truly revolutionary ideas can spring from unexpected places, sometimes initially disguised as playful provocations or even outright jokes. It highlights the immense power of identifying and addressing a fundamental, overlooked pain point, the crushing scarcity of storage in the early internet, and how solving it with radical generosity fundamentally changed user behavior and reshaped expectations for an entire category of communication. The long-term legacy of Gmail is undoubtedly complex and continues to unfold. Culturally, it normalized the idea of enough being effectively infinite in the digital realm, forever shifting our focus from meticulously managing file sizes to navigating an endless stream of information. Symbolically, its origin story serves as a potent reminder that even the most serious, ingrained digital infrastructure can have messy, uncertain, or even surprisingly humorous beginnings that are often conveniently smoothed over in the official corporate narrative. It also stands as a testament to the quiet, often unseen power accumulated by platforms that become indispensable parts of our daily lives, archiving our histories. Lessons learned from this particular origin story. Innovation can wear many masks. Disruption often looks utterly impossible or absurd at first glance, and the ubiquitous digital tools we integrate into our lives shape us in profound ways we may not fully recognize until years later. The true history isn't just in the successful product launch or the scaling servers. It's in the initial sparks of creativity, the daring decisions, the user reactions, and the evolving, sometimes uneasy, relationship we have with the technology itself. And maybe, just maybe, the soul of a brand is never entirely in its product, but in the people, stories, and stumbles that shape it along the way.